Right now we've got 50 students in 13 languages. And the 13 languages we have in public service interpreting, they're completely different from conference interpreting. The only solution I see, and the only way to move forward, is to have a central registration at a national level of all students who want to study the diploma in public service interpreting, then a network of universities that commit to public service interpreting training, and to create virtual communities of practice. So if I have got a tutor in Pashto, then this person can benefit all the students who are registered on the Diploma in Public Service Interpreting at a national level. There are two problems. The first one is their level of English is not always sufficient, so we need to help them out in this particular domain. The second problem is that when they come to universities, they don't know which one to go to because the information is not available. The same answer applies. We do not do your language. Then we've got this course, it's in English only. And no, they need to have language-specific feedback. And by organizing these virtual communities of practice, you can imagine that we are creating a pool of experts that can really develop the language in the country, and they will not feel so isolated either. When we train students on the MA in Public Service Interpreting, we have to ask ourselves the questions, what will they do afterwards? The MA in Public Service Interpreting started in 2008 and only ran for 2 years. But because of the current situation, we decided to put the MA in Public Service Interpreting on hold. So it is a zero recruitment course right now, and I have to persuade my university to keep it on the catalogue because I really wanted to be there and to have some visibility that the aim is to train public service interpreters at MA level. But on the other hand, we've decided to commit to the Diploma in Public Service Interpreting. And this is a qualification delivered by the Chartered Institute of Linguists. We have 50 students there, and they interpret in the legal sector and in the medical sector as well. If you think of the police, the London Metropolitan Police, they deal with 360 languages in London alone. This is where I live as well. And you can imagine that every single day people get mugged, arrested, or they are the victim of crime. They are not feeling very well. They have to go to hospital, or they've just arrived to the UK and they need to find a house, a property, or they are asylum seekers. If they do not have access to the language, their chances to access public services is nil. So you can imagine that it's all very well to have all these nice procedures in place, but if there is no way to communicate what you need, then there is no purpose to that. It's not all like that. For example, the London Metropolitan Police is a great employer. It's not fantastic, the rates could be better, but they are taking care of their interpreters. There's also the Cambridgeshire Constabulary Police, and they have put together a wonderful scheme to prove that they saved money with using in-house interpreters and giving proper training and proper pay. So there are some good practice in the country. But I do think that, these are the exceptions. The other problem I think that we face is telephone interpreting. It is great for a police officer to have access to interpreting services on the side of the motorway when they have stopped a car and they don't have an insurance. They call an interpreter within minutes at the other end of the phone. But do you know that telephone interpreters are paid per minute? So can you imagine that the rate per minute is actually a few pence? So the problem is that telephone interpreting is so low paid that it's only unqualified interpreters who go for telephone interpreting. And on the MA in Public Service Interpreting, students felt that telephone interpreting was the most difficult form of interpreting. So you can see here the imbalance between the skills required, the pay, but also the high need by public services. I think it's also quite difficult to access public services and to say, look, let me teach you how interpreters work. That's a course I used to deliver for Buckinghamshire Council. And the first exercise I would do with all these members of public services, I would actually ask them to pair. One person would be listening, the other one would be an interpreter. And I would tell them my journey coming to work. And I say, it's very easy. I'm going to speak in English. You just have to repeat in English what I'm saying to the person sitting next to you. And I spoke at normal speed. And within minutes, they understood the challenge that an interpreter has to face every single day. So this kind of courses would be ideal, but there are so many cuts in public services right now that this is a luxury. The key to the problem, if we want to make sure that public service interpreters have got a future, is to solve the question of rates, pay, working conditions. I think working conditions, we can work on them, but we need some support, we need some help to make sure that interpreters, when they do the training, they know that they can make a decent living out of this profession. Some of them have got rare languages and they are in demand on the market, and they are very often maybe asylum seekers who are now refugees. They've got a family, they don't have a high level of income and they want to help. So they are great, wonderful thoughts, you know, but we cannot rely on those thoughts alone. We need to have proper pay, proper rates, proper working conditions for interpreters so that they can feed the family, they can feed themselves, they can pay the bills, and they can have a roof over their head. It's as easy as that.